Hey everybody, welcome to the SMA Journey 51 vlog. Okay, I've been getting a lot of questions since I did my workout video from people wanting to know a little bit more, I would say further detail, about each exercise that I do. So what I did was I created a PowerPoint presentation where I go in depth with regards to each exercise that I do, not only with the resistance bands, but also some of the breathing exercises and some of the other exercises that I do during my workout sessions. Not only do I do these with Laura at her facility, but I also do these 3 or 4 days a week here at my house. So watch the PowerPoint presentation, which is about 10 minutes long, and I know it may be a little bit longer than most, but I think I give some really good information. And after the video, I'll come back and I'll give you a few final thoughts. Okay, so I went out to my PowerPoint presentation because I wanted to show you a detailed list of exercises that I'm using with the resistance bands. Now the pictures that you're going to be seeing in this slideshow presentation will show Laura using the yellow resistance band, but these pictures are about 3 weeks old. I'm now using the green, the red, and the blue resistance bands for all of my exercises. I'll try to update these pictures in the next couple of weeks. But the first exercise that I'm doing is the side to side. Using the red resistance band, Laura pulls me toward her, and I'm supposed to come back to a seated position as slowly as possible. Every once in a while, instead of pulling me straight toward her, Laura will pull me in a more forward or backward position, forcing me to compensate and come back into a seated position in my wheelchair. The muscles worked are the abdominals and the obliques, and the number of reps are 3 sets of 20 for a total of 60 reps per side. While going from my right to my left, the muscles in my neck will fatigue at a quicker rate, forcing me to stop quite often during this particular exercise. Over the last 4 weeks, I have noticed that these muscles are starting to get stronger. These side-to-side exercises have not only been a benefit to my abdominals and my oblique muscles, they've also helped by strengthening the muscles in my neck. The second exercise that I do is the back exercise. Using the blue resistance band, Laura pulls me toward her, and I'm supposed to come back to a seated position as slowly as possible. Similar to the side-to-side exercises, Laura will occasionally pull me to the left or to the right instead of pulling me straight back toward her. By changing the direction in which she pulls me back toward her, this forces me to use the muscles in my sides to correct and come back to a straight up seated position. The muscles worked are the abdominals, the obliques, and the back muscles. The number of reps, I do 3 sets of 20 for a total of 60 reps. This is probably one of the most difficult exercises that I do. Having to sit back up in my chair as slowly as possible while Laura is pulling me with the resistance band forces me to really work the abdominal and oblique muscles. The most difficult part of this exercise is when I am almost sitting straight up. Once I get to a certain degree where I'm almost sitting straight up, it is difficult to come back to a seated position slowly. The third exercise that I do is called a modified crunch. Using the blue resistance band, Laura has me lean forward and she will then apply resistance, pulling me toward her. Once there is enough resistance, I then use my abdominal and oblique muscles to lean forward as far as possible. The resistance band pulls me back up, and once I get back to an upright angle, I lean forward again in a crunch type exercise. The muscles worked are the abdominals and the obliques, and the number of reps, I do 3 sets of 20 for a total of 60 reps. Most of us who have had spinal fusion will not be able to perform a regular crunch type exercise because we were unable to get on the floor. This modified crunch allows us to work the abdominal and oblique muscles in the same fashion as we would as if we could get on the floor to perform this exercise. Another problem with spinal fusion is that we were unable to bend at the chest, so this exercise is very important to building a strong core. The fourth exercise that I do is called a modified back crunch. Using the green resistance band, Laura has me lean forward and she will then apply resistance, pulling me toward her. Once there is enough resistance, I then use my abdominal and oblique muscles to lean back toward the backrest of my wheelchair. Even though I'm not leaning forward too far, the tension is pulling me forward while I'm forcing myself to sit further back in the chair. The muscles worked are the abdominals, obliques, and the back muscles, and the number of reps, I do 3 sets of 20 for a total of 60 reps. Usually, during the last 10 or 20 reps of this exercise, Laura will have me go as slow as I can instead of the quicker motion that I do at the beginning of this exercise. By going slowly on the last set of repetitions, this makes the abdominal and oblique muscles fire for a longer period of time. And the last exercise that I do with the resistance band is called a reverse resistance crunch. Using the green resistance band, Laura has me lean back in the chair, making sure that my back is against the backrest of my wheelchair. Laura will then apply resistance until I'm forced to go in a forward position toward her. While Laura applies constant resistance, pulling me toward her, my job is to remain in a seated position with my back against the backrest of my wheelchair. Laura will also pull me more to the left and to the right at certain times during this exercise, forcing me to use different muscles in my back to remain in a straight back seated position. For the entirety of this exercise, my abdominals, obliques, and back muscles are constantly firing. The muscles worked are the abdominals, obliques, and the back muscles, and the number of reps, I do 3 sets of 10 for a total of 30 reps. While this exercise looks similar to the modified crunch or the modified back crunch that I described in the previous slide, this exercise is designed to keep the abdominals, obliques, and back muscles firing for a longer period of time. While this exercise is difficult for me to do for a long period of time, I am finding that I'm able to hold this position longer after only a few weeks of doing this particular exercise. Now, the next thing that I want to show you are some of the other exercises that I do with regards to my abdominals and my breathing. I do a rapid shallow breathing where I take quick shallow breaths as fast as possible for 30 seconds. This forces the abdominal muscles to remain active and firing throughout the entirety of this exercise. The muscles worked are the abdominals, and the number of reps, I do 4 sets for 30 seconds, totaling 2 minutes. The 7th exercise that I do are shoulder shrugs. I lift both of my shoulders as high as I can, and I hold this position for 3 seconds. I then relax for a few seconds, and I repeat this process. This not only works the muscles in the shoulders, it also works the muscles in my neck. So again, the muscles worked are the shoulder and the neck muscles, and the number of reps, I do 3 sets of 20, totaling 60 reps. The 8th exercise that I do are chin tucks, where I pull my chin down toward my chest, pressing my chin against the chest at the same time. The muscles worked are the shoulders and the neck, and the number of reps, I do 1 every 5 seconds, totaling 1 minute. Then the last exercise that I do is the abdominal press. This is where I tighten my abdominal muscle and keep it tightened for a total of 2 minutes. I have to breathe normally, which is extremely difficult to do with your abdominal muscles clenched. The muscles worked are the abdominals, and the number of reps, I do 1 for a total of 2 minutes. So here I am. You didn't think you were going to get through this entire video without seeing my ugly face. No. You're not that lucky. Last thing I want to go over are some of the improvements that I've seen since starting my core therapy. The first improvement is that the muscles in my lower back are much stronger, which makes it easier for me to sit back in my chair. This makes it easier to press my back against the backrest of my chair, which helps me when I'm going down the wheelchair ramp in my van. You know, if we ever park at a steeper angle, usually I was very resistant or very hesitant in trying to go down the ramp by myself. I would have to have somebody put their hand on my chest so I wouldn't fall forward. The second improvement is that I can now lean further forward in my chair and still be able to pull myself up into a seated position. This is really nice because if I ever have to reposition myself in my chair, it used to be if I went too far forward, I wouldn't be able to pull myself back up. I can now go further forward and still be able to get back up to a seated position. The third improvement I can lean over to my left and to my right much further and still be able to get back into a seated position. Again, if I need to reposition in my chair, if I get uncomfortable, this really helps. The fourth improvement, if I have to stop my wheelchair on a downslope, say if I'm going down a hill, I now have the ability to keep myself sitting all the way back against the backrest of my wheelchair. The fifth improvement is that the muscles in my neck are slowly improving. My neck used to fall forward rather easily, but now I have the ability to keep my head further back without the muscles fatiguing and my head falling forward. And the last improvement is that my confidence level has improved because I can now do things that, say, 4 or 5 months ago, I would have either been hesitant to do or I would not have even attempted to do what I wanted to do in fear that I would have failed in my attempt. I hope you enjoyed the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the PowerPoint presentation, and I hope you got some information that you can use if you decide to do physical therapy yourself. My recommendation would be to talk to your doctor and talk to a physical therapist in your area. Let them help you decide on whether or not physical therapy is right for you. You know, I'm 52 years old, and it took me a long time to get this weak, and I know it's going to take me a long time to build some of these muscles up. You know, if I was to just rely on the Spinraza treatments alone, I don't think I would be seeing the results that I'm seeing now. And while Spinraza is a wonderful treatment, I think we also need to couple this with some physical therapy to help build these core muscles. So again, please talk to your doctor and a physical therapist and get their opinion. I think if you start on a physical therapy routine like I'm on, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at the results that you're going to see. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would greatly appreciate it. I hope everybody's had a wonderful week. God bless you. And until next time,